you've run a distance race in West Michigan over the past 3 years, then you've likely seen him. Tutu Man.
His name is Rob Woldhuis, and there's a lot more to his story than just his goofy attire.
Jack Dole's joining us right now with his story. And Jack, this has all the makings of a bestseller.
Yeah, if I was a publisher, I would sign him up right now. Rob went from running into trouble to running to finish lines. This is a story of a man who found hope at a time and a place where few would find it. And now, armed with running shoes, his favorite hymns, and a tutu, he's sharing a very important message.
When he lines up for the start of the Fifth Third Riverbank run, Rob Woldhuis will be the guy wearing a tutu. If you're a passerby and ask, "What's up with the tutu?" he'll tell you the short version.
The tutu is just all about just getting people to laugh and smile, have a good time.
But if you run with him long enough, he'll tell you a story that will stop you in your tracks and might even change your life.
There's people out there that need to hear it. For some people, my story gives them hope. Cops came, ended up getting arrested.
He's sharing his story now with children who haven't been down the road he traveled and prisoners who have. And running is what brings his message full circle. Because in many ways, Rob has always been a runner.
In the past, I ran from feelings. I ran from connecting with other people. I ran from all the good things that were in my life because I didn't think that I deserved any of that.
A series of bad decisions fueled by a drug addiction led to a bunch of arrests. Rob estimates he spent 10 years behind bars.
I felt like I was spinning my wheels.
While he was serving time in 2007, tragedy struck. His two oldest sons were killed in a car accident in northern Michigan.
I remember reading Job 2, but in Job 2, his wife says to him, "Just curse God and die." And he says, shall we accept good from God and not trouble?
Rocked to the core, Rob continued to shun his faith, his family, and his friends.
I ended up getting the bright idea that I was going to go all the way back to Las Vegas again because that's a great place to start over. So I started doing meth when I was out in Vegas. I got arrested in 2010, and I was spending every waking moment that I had trying to find enough drugs to put into a needle to put into my arm. And that's absolutely no way to live.
Rob would serve 5 years in prison for that arrest, and he served part of it in solitary confinement. The guy who wouldn't let anyone in was now on his own, 23 hours a day.
When I had my come to Jesus moment, I was sitting in a box that was 6 feet wide and 14 feet long. And I was there for 2 years. So I had a lot of time to think about what my direction was going to be and what I wanted for the rest of my life. And that wasn't what I wanted anymore. And I knew that God had better plans for me.
What that plan was and how he would fulfill it were two very important pieces to putting his life back on track.
Before I was released, I purposefully sat down and wrote out an action plan. The things that were on there were, I need to be involved with a church. I need to be involved with a recovery group.
So this time, after he was released, he reached out for help.
Each person sharing is free to express feelings with
because he knew he couldn't do life on his own.
I never felt like the Christian community was going to be welcoming of me because I was still a sinner. And this is all in my head. No one said you have to live up to these standards. It's just the way that my head plays out. So choosing to do things on my own just kind of led me more into myself.
Another part of Rob's plan was to find a healthy outlet. He turned to running, and while he did, he rediscovered his faith.
When I just started running, I needed to find something to keep a cadence. And one of the verses that I always said in cadence was, "The amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me." Running for me when I first started became almost an escape. Like it was my solace time and my time to get centered with God.
Now 8 years sober, he runs with a purpose, to stay healthy, to stay clean, and to show others that have been in his shoes, you can change.
My hope is that stories like mine let them know that things are possible. Life is possible. You can do something with your life after you get out, and it can be meaningful.
Getting close to the end. Thank goodness, it's cold.
What are you running to?
Ultimately, I think I'm running to glorifying God in whatever aspect I can, through running, through sharing my testimony. I'm ready to start changing, just being a better person. I know for so many years of my life that my life was a stain on the world. I hope now that the transition that I've made and the direction that I'm pointed is taking away some of that stain.
Amazing what you can do when you find a purpose. Rob was lost, now he's found. He was blinded by drugs, now he's drug-free and he can see a brighter future. He sees hope and he's helping others see the same.
Another inspirational story for the race.
A lot of great road warrior stories. He's one of them. So many. That's one of the great things about the race is every runner has a story.
Yep.
But that
So
one's
good.
a little deeper than most.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Jack.